Hello, everybody, and welcome to the TeacherCast Educational Network. My name is Jeff Bradbury. Thank you so much for joining us today and making TeacherCast your home for professional development. On today's episode of Digital Learning Today, we're going to be talking all about Lexile and Quantile scores, helping our students make sure that they have the right reading and math materials in front of them so they can succeed in their future. I am excited to have my guest on the show today. She is the Director of Learning at a fantastic company called MetaMetrics. I'm happy to introduce Miss Amy Lau. Amy, how are you today? Welcome to TeacherCast.
Hi, Jeff. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here today. As you mentioned, I'm the Director of Learning at MetaMetrics. MetaMetrics is the founder and the creator of the Lexile and Quantile frameworks. My job here is really cool because I'm in charge of two things. One of them is our Educator Academy, which is our professional learning platform for people who want to get certified in Lexile and Quantile. And then I'm also in charge of our Lexile and Quantile Hub, which is what we're going to be talking about today. I'm really excited to share that.
I'm so glad that you're here. The last time that we had a chance to catch up with MetaMetrics was at ISTE. I remember standing there in this huge conference center, learning all about the Hub and what's going on. You've now launched the Hub. How has that been? And tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so the Hub has been around a while. It's a place where teachers can go to get our resources and tools to help them put Lexile and Quantile measures right into action in their classroom. The recent launch is really exciting because it is been designed to be accessible. And so that means that people who require the use of screen readers, alternate text for images, color contrast. We've been spending the last couple of years working with experts to get it aligned with accessibility guidelines. It's surprising how few websites do actually meet those guidelines. So we're really excited about that. And you can go ahead and there's more information about it on the Hub. But those are kind of the basic accessibility pieces that we're excited to launch.
So let's break this down for everybody. Yeah. What's the website? Where can we go to find it?
Absolutely. Great question. Hub.lexile.com. Pretty simple website. And you'll go there and, like I said, you'll see some of the new changes, like the accessibility changes. Some of those you won't even notice being different because there were a lot of work being done on the back end to make it available for anybody who requires any sort of additional accessibility needs. We did a couple other things as well. We tried to prioritize the user experience. And so the Hub has always been a place to go for tools and resources. It's now also a place that's kind of a one-stop shop. You can go there to learn about our professional learning. You can go there to learn about other things like user guides. If you don't know how to use one of our tools, go ahead. There's pretty comprehensive user guides in there. It's also very simple and intuitive to use. And so that might be an improvement that people see. And then the last thing is community engagement. We want people to come here to learn from each other. We have blogs in place now, and there's lots of opportunities for people to go there and see it in practice.
You know, I had an opportunity to check everything out before we got together today. And number one, I'm just impressed with how easy it is to navigate, not only on your desktop, but also on any tablet or mobile device, which I think is absolutely critical for any teacher out there. Mm-hmm. My question is, not only is this good for teachers and administrators, I bet that parents would be good to check this stuff out. I know you've got younger students. I've got early readers as well. This is certainly something where I can sit and go, are these resources good for my child? Am I looking for this? How can I help out my student? This does seem like a complete solution, no matter if you're an educator, parent, or administrator.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. And I forgot to mention in my introduction that I am both of those as well. I was in the classroom up until 2021. And so I understand what it's like to be balancing a lot of different things, also a parent. And so if you go to the hub.lexile.com, we actually have pages that are devoted to the parent experience, to the educator experience, in addition to our resources and tools, which can be used by both. So if you go to the parent page, there's also parent guides. Your parents are likely getting Lexile and Quantile measures on their assessments already. And so they look at it, what is this? And so it's good for parents. And then one thing I'd also like to highlight with that is that it's good for teachers to help their parents. We know that piece as educators in the classroom, that teachers or parents are asking us, what is this? What am I going to do with this? How can I help my kid? And I'll talk a little bit about some of the specific parts of the tools and resources that you can use for parent communication as you're trying to explain something like, assessment scores.
Well, let's talk to those parents for a second here, myself included. When we're looking at, going to a parent conference, when we're looking at going to, any meeting with a teacher, and they start throwing the words Lexile, Quantile, and here's your score, and here's what your student is. Let's just step back for a second. What are these terms? How would you define them? As a parent, what am I looking for? How do I know if my kid is on reading level? Give me the baseline here.
Yeah, so we do have two frameworks, and we're kind of throwing these words around, Lexile and Quantile. So let's step back a second on that. Lexile is a framework that puts reading measures on a universal scale. And so there's two sides to this framework, right? There's the student measures, which they get from taking an assessment. There's no special Lexile test, which was music to my ears as an educator. It's not one more assessment that I have to give. And then there's the other side of the scale is the text measures. And so it allows teachers and parents and students themselves, depending on the age level, to match their reading measure to a text. And so we're really targeting them, making sure that they're reading where they're most likely to show growth. Same thing for the quantile measure. Well, similar, I should say, not exactly the same. Quantile measure is our math scale. So same idea where it's on a universal scale where you have the student measures and the content measures. The difference, other than being math versus reading, is that this will tell us what your student, when they're ready to learn new information. We know that math builds on prior information, and so allowing students to let students and parents and teachers know when they're ready to learn the next bit of content.
Now, as far as testing students and testing our own students, is this something that has to happen in a school district, or can a parent use the hub to figure out what their child's score is on their own?
Yeah, so that's a great question. To get an official Lexile measure or Quantile measure, students typically take a linked assessment. And so that's often a statewide summative assessment. We partner with 21 states, and so it's likely that your state does that. Benchmark assessments. So if you're not in one of those 21 states, it's likely that your school is already giving some sort of benchmark assessment. And then also progress monitoring tests. And so there are 35 million Lexile and Quantile measures that go out across the country. It is likely that your students are already getting that. And we can go into more details if you'd like about how you can use the tools, even if you don't have a really specific Lexile and Quantile measure for your students, because we do have tools in there that parents can use.
Well, I think as a parent, the question I always ask is my kid reading at their level? What kind of books, what kind of materials should I be putting in front of them, both not only at school, but of course at home? Now, you also have a tool on the hub called Find a Book. Talk to us a little bit about that and how can that help out parents and teachers?
Yeah, so Find a Book is our most popular tool. It is used most frequently, again, by students, parents, and teachers. I just found out earlier this week that they just added 75,000 new ISBNs to the collection, which means we have 750,000 ISBNs in the collection now. So it really is the one place to go to see a book that has a Lexile measure with it. So if you if you have a student who is looking for their Lexile measure and they are looking for something about Lego, for example, and they go ahead to the Find a Book, you can go ahead and type in their Lexile measure. You brought up the question about if you don't have a Lexile measure. We have a solution for that. You can actually go into the Find a Book tool and you can indicate whether your student finds reading easy, difficult, or just right. And so that way, if you're a parent and you don't know what Lexile measure they have, you can go ahead and give that I'm doing this because it's a thumbs up, thumbs down. You can go ahead and select the how your reader feels about reading, and then it will give you a range. It's not as precise as having a Lexile targeted measure, but we also know that kids don't need to be reading at just one specific level all the time anyway.
I know for myself, we have a ton of books here. My kids are reading all the time, and I'm always curious, are they up on level? Are they above level? Especially with the triplets, are they all on the same level? How far apart are they? And it's nice to have a tool like this, especially with the Find a Book, where you can support your students and figure out how to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing when they're developmentally supposed to be doing. Again, the website is hub.lexile.com, and you can head on over to tools and then click on Find a Book. There's a number of different things that are out there. But Amy, I want to talk about you a little bit. Why are you excited about this new hub? Now that you've rolled it out, what kind of feedback are you getting from schools, from teachers, and from parents?
Yeah, so I am really excited about it because I think about when I was in the classroom and getting assessment data back. We all do, and not really always knowing what to do with it. And so the hub really gives you lots of different ways to use this. Like we said, Find a Book saves you time in the classroom. We also have a growth planner tool, which is a great piece to be able to input your students' measures and see how they are compared to their students. Are they on track for college and career readiness? I actually just recently spoke with a North Carolina coach, an instructional coach who works with new teachers across the state. And she said that after using the hub, she knows that her teachers are always looking for practical tools to use with their assessment results. We have the assessments. And so to go to a place where we don't have to do any additional assessing and we can just go ahead and put it to work was the most exciting thing for me.
Now, Amy, one of the things that educators are going to find useful is the brand new Resource Center. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so our Resource Center is really awesome. Go ahead and check that out. It has a lot of different resources in it, including over 3,000 linked math resources. So we talk a lot about Lexile Find a Book, which is a really important tool. We also have tools for math teachers. We have college and career readiness tools. And so if you go into the Resource Center, you can actually use the students' quantile and Lexile measures to find resources that also are linked with quantile and Lexile measures. These are free resources that are available online. And as a teacher and a parent, one of the most amazing things of this part of this center is that you can create curated lists, either for a group or for a student. Again, the parent who wants to know, how can I help my kid at home with math? You can go ahead and curate a list for them, send it, through an email, through a link, and they can access all those targeted resources as well, so that you're not scrambling, trying to find different things to send home and have them practice. It's also, you can share these links if you teach older kids, you can share these links with them so they can go home and practice at home or work in small groups, and also share them with colleagues. So I was talking about really using this hub to enrich the educator community. You can share with colleagues too, saving time for each other as well.
What does the future look like? We're in the middle of this, winter time. ISTE is right in front of us, right? Like, I know it seems like it's a long ways away here. Snow's on the ground, by the way, when we're recording this. But what are we going to be looking at by the time we see each other next in San Antonio? What's the future look like for the hub?
Yeah, so we, as we noted at the top, that we're putting these accessibility pieces into place. That was the big work that we were doing now. The community engagement piece is a new focus. Like I said, it used to be almost like a toolbox. You would go, you have your resources, you have your tools. We're really making this the one place that educators specifically go to have access to these tools and resources, but also are engaging in, our blogs and having conversation about that. We have videos up there that are teaching people about state standards versus normative data, things like that really get into the weeds about interpreting data. We know that science-based instruction is really, research-based instruction is really hot off the presses right now. I shouldn't even say that. It's been around a lot longer, but it's top of mind for everybody. And so we really want the hub to be the place where educators go to get answers to their questions about putting Lexile and Quantile measures into place.
No matter if you're an educator or a parent or any school district looking to help their students get a leg up on reading, head on over to hub.lexile.com. And Amy, I want to say thank you so much for coming on the show today. I'll give you the last word. Look at the camera, share with our audience, why is this such an important tool, and why should school districts visit hub.lexile.com?
Yeah, so come to hub.lexile.com. You will find resources and tools that save you time. I think that's the last lingering thing I can leave with teachers, because more and more and more, we're all crunched for time. So you have the assessments, you have the student measures. Come here to save time, and come here to find places that you can communicate with your families about what they're already seeing on their reports.
The resource, again, is the Lexile Hub. You can check out everything over at hub.lexile.com. For more information, head on over and check out all of that stuff today. Amy, I want to say thank you so much for your time today, and I'm looking forward to seeing you and the entire MetaMetrics team in San Antonio at ISTE 2025.
Thanks so much, Jeff. Thanks for having me on.
I want to say thank you to everybody for checking out the program today. And of course, I want to say thank you to Amy for being a guest on this show. Don't forget to head on over to hub.lexile.com for more information. And if this is the first time you're listening to our show, hit that like and subscribe button and share a little bit of TeacherCast with your professional learning networks. And that wraps up this episode. On behalf of everybody here on TeacherCast, my name is Jeff Bradbury, reminding you guys to keep up the great work in your classrooms and continue sharing your passions with your students.